Hi, everybody. Welcome to Profiling Evil by Mike King with Chris McDonough. We have been really busy, and this is the culmination of a 4-day search that's been happening in the Suzanne Morphew case. And to all of you, we say welcome. I think you are going to enjoy tonight's show. And Chris, how are you doing today?
Mike, I'm doing great. It's great to be here, everybody, and we're grateful that you're here with us tonight. We've got a lot to cover, and we're waiting for Andy to get back to the hotel and get situated. So hopefully he's going to jump in here pretty quick. But we had a lot going on tonight, Mike. We want to thank everybody for being here. Hit that subscribe button, press the thumb, and let's get into this tonight. I mean, Code 33. We had Tyler on the ground here today with Andy all day. And I think we came across a lot of different things, and we're going to talk about all of that. And so we're going to also run through the technology, right, Mike? And
yeah, I think we will recap that.
Okay, and then we're going to, we'll get Andy to get a report up here. We'll talk about, some things that are going on in the investigation, some of the things that took place today at Barry's house. Where we were there on the scene, and then some of the other evidentiary finds that the FBI is involved in. So, Michael, let's kick it off and let's run up the. What do you think? The technology? You want to start there?
Yeah, why don't we? And while Tyler's bringing up that technology and some of the imagery, you may have seen across the bottom. We wanted to just make sure that we call out the fact that for those of you who are viewing us on Facebook, thank you. Thank you to everyone who has used Twitter, who has retweeted the tweets we've sent out. And thanks for those really nice shout outs from the other YouTube creators and others who have called us out. It's been fun to retweet your things. And of course, for those who are on Instagram. One thing I think, Chris, that we need to bring up for the searchers, and we had 700 plus searchers over the last 4 days. We need you now to take a moment and go to the Tracker app. This is the application you've been using to keep track of every step that you've been taking. This thing is officially over, and we would encourage you to turn off that tracker. We don't want to follow you to whatever store you're going to or where you buy your hamburgers. Just shut that down. You can even throw the app away if you want. If another search comes up in the future and you help us there, you can simply install that. But if you downloaded the Explorer app, you might keep that because it's a great way for you to explore all kinds of things. Like right now, you can just type in wildfires on that Explorer app, and you can track in real time all the wildfires that are occurring across the United States.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, and
looks like we've got Andy here.
Yeah, we got Andy in the house, so we didn't know if he would get here fast enough. And that poor guy is worn out. Andy, how are you doing, brother?
Pretty long day. Okay,
so we're not going to hold you up. What do you want to say? Tell because I know you've been thanking everybody all day in the last couple of days. So, Mike, how many total miles did we end up with approximately?
Andy, you are in excess of 5,400 miles total that people have covered.
Square miles
in this, not square, linear miles. Yeah,
linear miles. Okay.
Yeah, walking miles. I mean, that's phenomenal when you think about those kind of numbers, Andy. Yeah. So, wow, is all I can say.
Hey, we've knocked a lot out. We've taken a lot off of the plate for the sheriff and the CBI out here, I'll tell you.
So what do we got? What do you got for us? And what do you want to tell the folks here? We've got, just under 3,000 people right now and growing. Yeah. And they're all here for Suzanne. So we're all ears.
Well, the search still goes on. Of course, we're not done until Tuesday. So
okay.
We'll be meeting again in the morning and dispatching again. Today we had searcher dogs here, which worked out very nicely. Got some interesting spots that have been turned over to CBI. We got access to the Morphew property. Barry said, yeah, sure, go in. He allowed me, one other guy, and a dog team to go in, and we searched that property thoroughly. We had a hit behind the house. Turned out not to be anything. It was insignificant. So I couldn't be more pleased about that. I'm hoping, like I said, I've always hoped and I still hope Suzanne's alive. And I'm hoping there's nothing at that house. That nothing could have pleased me more. And
Right.
I hope before this is all over with, maybe we clear Barry. Who knows? You know what I mean? I'd love it. I'd love it. It'd be a weight off of his chest, my chest, all the viewers' chests. But the searchers were great today. We had horseback, dogs, drones, everything you can imagine.
Okay. And so if you heard Mike a minute ago, don't delete those apps yet.
Yeah.
That software yet.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize this. Yeah, great news for those that are still, for those of you who are still here for the next 2 days to search. Please keep the app going. Andy, that's great news. We didn't know that. We thought you were heading back in the morning.
No, 29th is when we're done.
Okay.
We got a little ways to go.
Okay. Good news. So now, did you had a chance? You went to the Morphew property. Did you talk to Barry?
I did not personally. My friend Matt did.
Okay.
And Barry was very nice, and he said, I love you, Andrew.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
good deal.
That was
Good
his
deal.
way of helping, and I'm more than pleased with that.
Okay.
The other news would be that Mallory, my dad, finally got a hold of Mallory.
Okay.
Had a nice long conversation with her. Dad, if you're watching, hi, I love you. He had to go to the emergency room yesterday. Thought maybe he'd had a stroke, but that wasn't the case. But he's struggling. So.
Okay. But some, will everybody keep Gene in your thoughts and prayers. So, and Andy, you're carrying, it's a heavy burden, but I want to encourage you as a friend, and Mike and I, and everybody on this, in this channel, and quite frankly, in the world, is behind you 100%. Pluses or minuses. Now, you also had a couple of things that you turned over to the CBI, and you also turned it over to FBI. Is that right?
That is right. Yeah.
And that looks like some solid stuff. And this just happens to be the dog yesterday.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we're not going to talk about where that's at. None of us are going to talk about that. Okay. So that's still moving forward, right?
Correct. It is.
Okay. So then we also had a situation down at the beach area. Yeah. And we don't know what the status on that is, though, do we?
No, I really don't. I'm pretty sure they're going to process that.
Okay.
So, it's going to be looked at. I'm sure of it.
Okay.
So yeah, let me maybe differentiate between the two, Andy. The one at the beach was a passive hit by a cadaver dog, several passes, just enough of an indication that it warrants that thing has to be investigated further. Yeah. But yesterday, with two separate cadaver dogs, you had a hit in a single location that was a solid hit that indicated that absolutely needed. And that's the one that FBI has been sitting on for the last couple of days. Is that right?
Yeah. When I passed there this evening, there were 5 cars sitting on that. So yeah,
okay. That's gonna. I mean, that's really substantial. That's, you don't put 5 people on a weekend at a site for any other reason. So, I mean, to me, this is like mission accomplished to this huge army, that you have turned up solid evidence that wasn't there before this happened. And folks, if you're just tuning in, we're with Andy Moorman's, Suzanne Morphew's brother, who has led this massive search of over 700 volunteers who have come from many different places. 3/4 of those people have come from this community who were just frankly fed up that there wasn't something happening locally. And Andy, I echo what Chris said. We couldn't be prouder of you and the way you've held this together. And it's been really interesting for us to watch you because you have had a great weight on your shoulders for the last 4 days. And some of our listeners and viewers have commented about those big bags that are getting under your eyes. And we know that you're missing a lot of sleep and that you're working tirelessly. So thanks. And again, man, thanks for letting us step in and do the little piece that we've been able to do.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys. I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, what do you think? Where do you want to go from here? I mean, you've got some things moving. And by the way, let's remind everybody, folks, if they have an evidentiary situation going on, let's stay away from that, please. Let the authorities do their thing. We don't want to be searching the searcher or the guys who are searching. That's their thing. Let them do it. And Mike and I, Andy, everybody, we know from professional experience, once they get in there and they start doing their thing, they're going to do it.
Yeah,
So,
I literally don't even look back after I give it to them.
yeah,
I'm moving
exactly.
on. I'm moving
Well,
on.
and not only that, what could happen is cross-contamination in any way, shape, or form. Once evidence has been identified, we want to step back from that as volunteers, to help this good family and just let them do their job. So please, can we ask you to please consider, staying away, even if you know where the locations are, please just stay away. That said, Andy, how can we help you tomorrow? Where can we go from here?
Well, I think I shot you a couple texts today of some local people that have tips, left a phone number.
Yep.
And I asked you to follow up on that. I don't know if you did any good or not, but that's a great help to me because it's so hard for me to navigate my cell phone up in these mountains. It just doesn't work. It tracks the app beautiful, but I can't call anybody. I can't text anybody. I'm just running blind up there like that. So, when you can do some behind the scenes work like that, that's wonderful for me. Had a lady today reached out with some paperwork on some tree invoices that was quite interesting. Handed that right over to CBI. And I'm going to tell you right now, he was just about to jump out of the seat over it. So, that's really important stuff. And they couldn't get their hands on it quick enough.
Well, and without exposing too much, I mean, there were conversations going on till 3:30 in the morning, Andy, with, our team was up talking to people who were providing real credible evidence and information. You're having the good people of that community who are sharing information that they know. It's amazing the number of photographs that are streaming in. I mean, we're now seeing some a truck that's been of real interest, even damage on the back of the truck that Chris and I picked out today from some photographs that's brand new in the last couple of days. Pieces of information like that. This idea of public crowdsourced intelligence is really proving its worth and its salt in this investigation, and it's been really something to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the developments that come in on a daily basis are just unbelievable. The tips, the little tidbits here and there and everywhere. You know what I mean? They come in all the time, and it's thanks to Chris and you, processing those is important.
Yeah. No, we're honored to help you. We really are. This is, Suzanne's an amazing spirit.
Well,
and
I'll be looking forward to TIG tomorrow. I can tell you that right now.
Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Tell our audience who that guy is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
TIG is, he's one of the Benghazi survivors. Only 4 people survived that incident in the Middle East. I believe it's Middle East.
Yep.
And if you've never seen that movie, it's a really good one to watch. Those guys were trapped and let down basically by our government that knew the threat was coming and didn't act on it. So
yeah, he's a great American.
He really is nice fellow, really nice.
And he stepped up for you. I called him 2 weeks ago. Mike and I, on our team, we reached out to Tig and we said, Tig, we need your help. And we know him. We've had a relationship with him for a long time. Yeah. And he said, what do you need? And we told him, hey, Andy needs help. And man, if it wasn't 5 minutes, boom, he was there. He was on top of it. And I know you guys hung out. And, here's Sergeant Melinda. Thank you so much. And, there's so many great people, rooting for you, Andy. And, we're just grateful to provide this platform. So a couple of good things that happened today, to your point. So our evidence room on our website, as you know, got some intel that we immediately pushed to CBI. Okay, that was the first thing, and that's a couple of those leads that you're talking about. So, folks, keep that intel coming If you don't,
Yeah. Hey, Chris, take a moment and explain to him that evidence room and why that's so crucial as you talk through this.
Okay, Mike. So Mike and I, when Mike started this channel, we thought, okay, how else can we help people in these kind of situations? Maybe there's a situation that somebody doesn't feel comfortable calling, the hotline or anything like that. Well, we created a page, and it's called the Evidence Room. And if it's critical to an investigation, okay, we immediately don't do anything with it. What we do is we push that immediately to the proper authority. And today we had photographs, we had paperwork. It just appeared today.
Right.
And right, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And we sent that immediately to CBI and the FBI today. Well, CBI, FBI, it's the same thing in this investigation.
Yeah, they were really pleased with that too.
Yep. And so this is what Profiling Evil, this is what we're about. Okay. And like Andy said, this is a movement. And you know what? This is Suzanne's movement. This is your movement as the world. And if we can, replicate this model, like to you, what you keep saying, Andy,
Yeah, it'll get better.
It'll get better. Yeah. And we're learning.
We're not learning by any means, but it'll get better.
It'll get a lot better. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's some great lessons that have been learned along the way. And I think one of the really important things to just reiterate here is that it's a community of trust that's being developed too. When we get information, folks, there's a lot of things that would be really exciting to release. And most of those things are not appropriate to release, and they need to go to the law enforcement and to the people that are really making the difference. It's been really something to watch the amount of information that has come into this channel through the different contexts that we've been made that are case critical that we've never mentioned on the show. And I think that's a credit to the fact that, that ingrained in our blood is law enforcement, and the fact that this is about bringing home someone, and it's about bringing the responsible parties to justice, and nothing else can get in the way of that. Shows, ratings, subscribers, anything else. But for all of you that just keep hitting that subscribe button and everything else, I mean, that's just gratifying to us, and it helps us continue to do something like this.
Yeah. Andy, I mean, that we're out here for you. We have a wonderful channel being built here, but that's not where we started this, and you know that, and I know that, and the world knows that.
Well, I tell you, I completely wore myself out pulling off a publicity stunt here, as you can see.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, talk about the amount of media that you've had, because again, I want to just mention that we were approached by you about maybe 8 weeks into Suzanne's disappearance, and she had relatively been forgotten. Wasn't being talked about.
August 7th.
August 7th is when we picked this up, Andy, when we sat down with you for the very first time.
Right.
Talk about what kind of media you've had here this weekend and the exposure that you've brought to this case, because I would be surprised if there are many people who don't know who Suzanne Morphew is.
Yeah, I just had a senator call me and said, if you need help with search warrants, we got you. They were even in on, some of their friends were in on the search. So, I mean, that's the kind of connectivity you get through a search effort like this. She said, I was in the search today. I didn't even meet the lady, but she called me. She said, if you need warrants to search properties, holler at us. We'll get them for you from the Senate. And I was like, okay. She said, we work with FBI and CBI all the time. We do their funding and their warrants. And I was like, okay. So I forwarded that information to my local contact here at the CBI, and he's like, alrighty then. So that's just one of the things that happens out of a situation like this. The media, really, they've been quite nice. I've done a tremendous amount of interviews. I just did one a little bit ago here at the condo with, what was the name of it? UK, the UK
Awesome.
people.
Okay, UK. Yeah.
Yeah. And they got 3 million viewers.
Good for them.
And
That's
so
fantastic.
they asked me questions about, the investigation and all the things, and I just sat and talked with them for a while. So that's going to hit 3 million people, for crying out loud.
Yep.
It's one of the biggest newspapers in Britain, I guess. So
Good. And you ran the dogs around the property today, right? Again, and you feel comfortable.
All over.
Okay, so you feel comfortable right now that property around the house, your sister's not there.
I believe that.
Okay.
They were unleashed and welcome to do what they needed to do, those dogs. And we just stayed back and observed, And I'm telling you, they kind of scratched around on a certain bush, but the second one came in, didn't even pay it a mind. So, it's interesting to see dogs work in unison together, and it helps you decide what's relative and what's not. So
Good.
I'm pretty well done at the Morphew property.
Good to go. Okay,
Yeah.
so now, and we'll talk about other things later on tonight, but Mike, what do you think about technology in terms of, do we have any heat maps or anything we can show Andy?
Nothing new today, because it takes us this evening to get through that. We went through earlier where we were on all the tracks leading up to this morning. But bottom line is, Andy, the information is consistent. The volume is consistent. You had fewer searchers out today. I think probably you had some folks heading home, and you might have a lighter team tomorrow. But I know that you're getting very prescriptive on what you're looking at right now and the places that you're looking at. But the action and the activity has been phenomenal. At one time, just to give you an idea, there were 4,000 things per minute happening in the search, and that some of that are footprints, some of that's evidence being collected, some of that's people signing on and off. But no, I'm sorry, and I said that wrong. 400,000, not 4,000. 400,000 things happening at once. It was just something to behold. And Andy, I don't know if you want. Oh, go ahead, Chris. If you want, we can go through some of those initial things, and for anybody that has not been able to catch some of the information about the technology, we could blast through some of those images real quick and talk about where we've been. We got 4,200 people online right now listening, so a huge number of people have joined up to get caught up on where we are on things, but we'll kind of follow this any direction you want to go.
Okay. Well, we're gaining momentum still. The evidence is flowing in properly. Yeah, the search team's getting a little smaller, but to be honest with you, we got the broad part of it out of the way. So the fact that it's going to be a little smaller is going to be easier for me to manage, and now we can pinpoint things a little easier.
Good to go. Hey, Andy, we have a video from across the street showing the search.
Okay.
From somebody. Is it okay we show that with the Morphew property?
Yeah,
are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if we've got
maybe you can talk through this while it plays, Andy.
Maybe we can tee that up and show everybody what you were doing up there. And so, folks, while we get this teed up, this Andy is here, about his sister, and this is the property that they searched where Barry did not speak. You did not talk to him.
No,
he talked to the person that was with you. That's correct. He asked to be with you. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so you accomplished that, and at least that's a communication through this other friend. Sure. Absolutely, it's good to go. Yeah. So what do we got going here?
Well, what we did was, here you can see that dog's untethered. Okay, he's welcome to go where he wants to go and do what he wants to do. And what you're seeing is him sniffing around the perimeter of doors and the house. They're always interested to see what's going in and out of the house. And then he just wanders around and he sniffs. And if he finds something, you'll know it, because they'll start digging on it. Their behavior changes, their face wrinkles up, they start tasting the grass or anything around it. They'll even lick a rock or two. And it's amazing that a dog can smell 6,000 times better than a human being.
Yeah.
That's, to me, you can't even describe that. We're so dead nosed, you can't even describe that. So they're intelligent animals, And one of their strongest senses in the dog body is their nose.
Yep. Yeah, no, they're unbelievable. And that looked like a German Shepherd. Obviously, it was a Shepherd.
Yes.
And, we talked about Irk last night. I told you about, I love Irk the Jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys that dog was absolutely phenomenal and saved my life. It's for another show, but what else we've got, Mike? So yeah, you can see him working here.
Yeah.
And
no, go ahead, please.
no, go ahead, Andy. Tell us what's going on, because you were there.
Well, they're checking the flower beds, and they're pointing down, and they're saying, search, look good, look good, look good. And so the dog he'll comb that flower bed all the way around there. Then when they're done surrounding the house like that, they move out another 10, 15 feet, and that circle just continues to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell this young lady here, the handler, has done this before, and whoever you are, thank you. She was a volunteer.
All the way from Missouri. This is what her and her husband love to do.
Thank you. Yeah. And I know you thanked her a million times, but now the world's going to
take them out to dinner tonight. I'm telling you.
Okay, the world's going to thank them too.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much. And you also had some great things happen with the people of Salida today. They supported you in other areas, downtown, in different places. That was a home run.
Yeah.
You were able to check some things off your boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else you want to say? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Well, you know how every day you say that's coffee cup trash. That's coffee cup. Well, in my case, this is evidence, and it goes into a bucket. My coffee cup is a giant bucket, and every time it's about half full right now. So I'm getting places marked off of my list. These are off my bucket list. It's working out really great, and I can't thank the people of Salida enough. I mean, it's just not possible to do.
Yeah. And today was a day of church for people. And so the town went to church, and, it's a smut. Tell me, do you feel the demographics connect with where you're from at home, where Suzanne grew up?
Yeah, I mean, I do. The people are sweet in a small town always.
Yeah.
It's a close-knit community. They usually surround a church, and that's where the good things start from, and it works out from there. Yeah.
I mean, Mike, what thoughts?
Well, I've been kind of working behind the scenes here. Our team of GIS scientists just forwarded this over. So, Andy, I want to show it to you live. I mean, this is pretty darn impressive. And thanks to Rob, Jeff, and John, and the other Jeff, who have been working nonstop behind the scenes, kind of managing a lot of stuff for us. But Andy, this is representative. In fact, I'm just going to turn this, instead of looking at the community the way we're looking at it, I'm going to just make this a dark gray background to let this stuff kind of really pop out and show. This is day one of your search in the areas that were covered. And I mean, we could get pretty granular and look at the area quite large. But as we start looking at this, and it may take, just because it's so massive on the information side, a second for that to draw in, I want to just start adding a little bit of information. So here's day one, the 24th of September. And there were some real major areas that you covered, primarily around the house. In this area, there were a couple of areas to the east, to the north, and to the west. On day two, we added the tracks that you've brought in, and now we start to see how you're starting to get this creep as you start to broaden the area that you were examining. By yesterday, you had gone in and added this much more space, and then these are your tracks actually today up until about 15, 20 minutes ago, showing all the area in this community that you guys have covered. And to put that in perspective, if we were to look again at this map just as a map for maybe help this show a little differently, it is a massive amount of ground that you and your team have covered.
Yeah. It's rough ground too.
And you were looking for a needle, and you're looking for a needle in a haystack, as they say, right?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
And you now it looks like Alexa's talking to Mike, so we'll just let him talk to the computer. And so, but you're looking for a needle, you're looking for a needle in a haystack, evidentiary wise. I mean, it could be anything, right?
Yeah.
You found a set of keys yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, unbelievable. All the way at White Pines.
A set of keys.
Set of keys. There were 2 keys on a ring.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's missing those, but they're up at White Pines. They're still laying there.
They're still there.
Yeah.
Andy found them, but you tagged them, right?
Yeah.
You tagged them on the app. So, okay, we'll be able to find your keys. We can tell you exactly longitude and latitude where they sit. So if you missed
we found Alan Anderson's cell phone up on Monarch Mountain.
There you go. There you go. So this is the granular level of how you guys got to. And what's really exciting about this is you actually found something that the Fed said, "Wow, we're here."
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And you know what, Andy? You did it.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You came into this with a mission to find your sister. Mike and I have talked about this for, weeks now. And congratulations in terms of how far you've made it so far.
Yeah.
Now, whatever that means, evidentiary wise, if it turns into pluses or minuses, there's nobody that can say to you that you didn't give 1,000% for your little sister.
Yeah.
And
I have.
go. Yeah.
And I'll give you a funny story today.
Okay.
A little Chilean girl from Chile was there today. And she's probably only about 4 foot tall. And she hiked all the way to the snow line on that power line trail today.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
The guy that was following her could not keep up with her.
Wow.
She's used to that high altitude in Chile. And I mean, she scaled that mountain like it was nothing. So if you don't think people aren't coming from a long way off to help, I'm telling you, there's evidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Did we lose him?
No, I don't think so. I'm still here.
I think we lost Mike. He's frozen. He did that again last night. Oh, he's back. Last night you probably saw I don't know did you see the hunter come up behind him?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, look at this. One of Mike's friends. Okay.
Somebody didn't even have to say freeze,
Yeah, he didn't even know the guy. He didn't even know the guy, right? Leave it to me to go, hey, how are you?
You can't script that one. That was crazy. Guy walking around with his muzzle loader and his camo gear. And I'm on the call and I look in my rearview mirror and I see this guy coming up on the creep with his rifle. And I'm thinking, holy cow, Bill. But hey, Andy, I just wanted to put this up real quick to help our listeners and viewers get a sense of the countryside there. This is not easy country to navigate, and you guys were covering it all. And I just hope people can get a sense of what an accomplishment this was for you to go in and actually start to tear apart this entire environment and understand what's going on. Incredible to think about.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And Andy, our PE family here and the rest of the world, is daily keeping you, your family, your dad, your sister, all the rest of your wife. I mean, your sweet wife has, let you do what what you got to do. And, the world, I mentioned it, we mentioned it last night, she's becoming, a symbol of this feeling that of such a good spirit and a good person. And she really is, an amazing light to, I think, a lot of the darkness that the world is feeling today. And you're bringing that to play for sure. And folks, I'm seeing, we're seeing some stuff about being inside the house. The investigators have been in the house. They held that house, I think, 11 days.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to leave that there.
Yeah,
And,
I don't go in there. You know.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
not
go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm not interested in going in there. I'm really not. I never got to before. There's no point in me going in there now. My sister's not there. And
Right.
if she was there, I'd be in. But she's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Andy, we know that you have another interview coming up, and I have permission to talk about this interview that we're going to be doing in a few moments. You've got to make a little jaunt across town to do that. But I thought it might be nice to we'll announce what that interview is going to be in a minute, because we're really so appreciative of this individual who has taken an interest over the last month and a half, 2 months, and has really bent over backwards to try to help us and you. And we're really excited about that. We'll mention that in just 1 minute, but would you mind taking a couple questions from folks and we'll answer the ones we can and say, can't answer that one on the ones you can't.
Okay. Love to.
All right. If Tyler, if we could get those pulled up, we'll put them up on the screen. Chris and I will read them out, and we'll give you an opportunity to respond to those. We have folks, Maria Burks, who just signed on from India. Andy, we got folks that are donating like crazy. Darcy Ann with $10, Sergeant Leffler, who has been so kind to us with $100 donation. Molly G with $25. All of them wishing you well. Heather D, another $25. I mean, this stuff, folks, we really appreciate it. It really helps us. There are some of you who just can't do it, and we get that. But those of you who have been able to, some of the stuff is a little expensive, and we really appreciate the support. It's not going to slow us down if we don't get it. We're going to continue to try to help. But here's the first question, Chris. You want to give that one to Andy?
Andy, go. Is there a way of go?
Is there a way of getting a T-shirt or bracelet to buy, the blue ones from the memorial light? I believe there is. Probably when this show's over, the gal Tisha that we've been talking with, Chris, I believe she has those.
Okay.
Okay, and I think I think they can be shipped out.
Is there a way
So
to
there's
put
gotta
her
be
link up or something?
Yeah, there's got to be someone online that could get us a link for her. If there's anyone out there in this group of 4,500 people, please give us a link in the box and we'll put it up on the screen for everyone. That would be awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm going through these questions here. I want to be sensitive to some of them. Let's see.
Here's a nice one. I just lost it. Man, there's so many chats going on. It's credible, but this one we may need to take for you, Barry. But the question is, can you get a search warrant for Barry's Bobcat? Law enforcement with the right justification, you can get a search warrant for anything that's pertinent to solving the case. And I suspect that they've looked at the equipment quite closely. But I hope you don't mind. And Shar, thank you so much for that donation.
Yep. And to, there's no need in beating that up. And I don't see really a whole bunch of other questions as per se, other than comments as a whole. Andy, over the last 4 days, just to kind of give you some time to breathe here now. I mean, I know you've been going 100 miles an hour, and what we want to do is maybe give you some time to say, to the people that are leaving tonight, but it's not over.
No,
you got a couple more days, but what do you want to say to the people that have jumped in so far and that have to go home for work and all the other stuff tomorrow on behalf of your family and sister?
Well, I know you're tired. You've earned a good night's rest. And you've been part of an army that will never be forgotten. And someone asked, if you don't turn her up by spring or this fall, will you be back in the spring? I can't really answer that yet. I kind of doubt it, you guys. I think by the time I'm done, I will have exhausted just about every lead. Now, if something comes up significant, you bet. My bet's on a plane. I'm not driving 17 hours again. But I'll come back out here.
Yeah. Well, and we can promise you from the PE family, we're not going away.
Yeah.
No matter what. And right, I mean, you know, we're here to help anybody if this is a critical situation for anybody. I mean, we're just grateful to help. And by the way, we're not the only channel. I mean, the whole, you know, Duty Ron, who's a great guy. It's a Crime, Linda. I mean, these folks and others have come together to say, hey, how do we help you? And by it's lit across the world. It's lit. Suzanne, everybody, I think by the end of Sandy, by the time you get home in 3 or 4 days, they're going to say, I know that girl.
Yeah.
I know that girl. Okay. And so let's pray some of the evidence that you collected here while you've been on the ground is going to be significant. And somebody the other day said the evidence of, you know, that was recovered, you know, we're not going to talk about what it is the other day, that the sheriff said, you know, at this point, what that means is it could be at the lab. We don't know. Okay. Right. The sheriff put a press release out that says at this point, we don't see relevance to it. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. That's a standard PIO, which is Public Information Officer pitch to the public. At this point, we don't know. Well, that makes sense because people are asking, what is it? Where is it? You know, et cetera. They don't know. Okay. There's been talk about a pink bike out there. Okay. Well, we had information that there's a pink bike involved. Okay. I mean, we're not going to lie about that, right? Because that's not what we do. Okay. So how that fits into the puzzle, we don't know. Okay. That's up to the investigators. That's what they do. Okay. Andy, I support you and your family. NYPD strong. That's Duty Ron.
Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I love that guy.
Yeah.
You know, Rita LeBoy, God bless you guys. Sending prayers. Nurse from New Jersey. Wish I could be there to help you, Andy.
Oh, thank you, Rita.
This is great.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike? Any other thoughts?
Well, you know what? I just teed up and asked Tyler to share a little video that we created about Suzanne several months ago. And Andy, we want to move you on. We're going to be going on Dr. Phil in the next couple of minutes, and I think we need to give you enough time to get over there. But I've asked Tyler to try to find this little video, and then I'd like you to maybe take a couple of minutes to just share who Suzanne Morphew, Suzanne Morphew is, so that people get to hear from you about her, if you're comfortable doing that, Andy.
Yeah, sure I am. Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe we'll let you describe who she is while Tyler looks for that video, and then we'll play that, and then we'll catch you in a few minutes when we all jump on Dr. Phil.
Okay, that'd be great.
And folks, we got to say, and we'll say it publicly here, Dr. Phil has been amazing. He pushed out Suzanne's story 6 weeks ago or so, I would think, wasn't it, Andy? And has been personally very interested in this. To Sarah and Michelle, who have worked so closely with me and Chris, we're just so appreciative of that team and his sponsorship of helping keep Suzanne alive in everybody's mind. So we're really excited about that. And I think his plan is to air this later this week, Andy. Okay. So that will be really neat. But please, why don't you take a moment? But Chris, do you want to say something first?
No. Not at all. No.
Well, who was Suzanne Morphew Moorman Morphew, excuse me. She was a 49-year-old beautiful lady, 2-time cancer survivor, parent of 2 children with a loving husband. She went to church. She took care of herself physically. She donated a lot of time at the church, even to the point of the domestic abuse being the contact person in the church. She loved my dad. She loved all of her brothers and sisters unconditionally, and just an all-around great person that lit up a room that everybody loved. And she's touched so many lives out here in Salida. It's just unbelievable. And in Indiana, every place she's ever been.
Yeah.
I can't think of a nicer tribute. Andy, we love you, and we'll be with you in just a couple of minutes. It's not like we're saying goodbye. And we'll be back with you tomorrow night, if possible, to get a recap of where you are after tomorrow's search.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat feet across town, get good internet, and get on Dr. Phil.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you,
Talk to
Andy.
you, Matt.
See you.
Good
All
night,
right.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, I want to just recap a couple of things, and I asked Tyler just to put that video up. It didn't seem right for us to say anything after Andy said that, but folks, we would invite you to just look at this little tribute that was what compelled me and Chris to want to try to help in some way with this beautiful woman, and so we'll put that up in the chat box or somewhere wherever Tyler ends up putting it up. But why don't we recap what happened this week quickly, Chris? Nearly 5,300 miles covered, linear miles. That's people walking in the dirt around Salida, and that is a monumental task in and of itself. There were we can't really say. There were a lot of collections of different things that were of interest, but maybe you could hit on the three really important things that were uncovered that lend and point to the fact that this thing is already a success. Maybe we could talk about first the river.
Yeah, the river. So we have some work being done down there. They had a dog did a passive hit down there. We're waiting for the sheriff to, tell us exactly, from his position what that looks like, and we'll wait to see where that goes from the river. What's the next one, Mike?
So the next one was article of evidence that was uncovered behind the home property line.
Yep, at the top, and on the other side of the property line, that's been collected. And law enforcement authorities recovered that, and that is the press release. We still don't know what it is, and we're going to let them, take care of that and resolve that. And number three,
yeah, and I would just add, Chris, that was information that we directed based on corroborative testimony that we received, and it was important enough that the sheriff's office took it into custody. And I think that was a real tribute to, again, this public CSI. And then the third location that we're not going to reveal, but the activity of not one, but two cadaver dogs.
Yeah. And that could be a game changer, and we'll see how that's going to play out. I think, there's also, it's important for us, Mike, to remind everybody. I mean, our clarity of focus has been, we started with a behavioral analysis in relationship to the totality of the circumstances and the victim continuum. If you've not seen some of our Mike's earlier videos on the victim continuum and, the 10 filters of profiling and a variety of other things, I think there's a couple of big things and big takeaways here. Number one, we have not left the house. Okay, that's the first thing. We're going to say that, and I'm going to keep saying that. Okay, no matter what anybody else says, they can say whatever they say. I'm good with that. You're good with that. Okay,
and saying that we have not left the house doesn't mean that there is evidence outside of the home, folks. But again, go back and look at that victim risk continuum that we talked about early on. And that will make really clear sense to you, we believe. So go back and hit those videos.
Yep. Number two, big takeaway. Evidence room is working. Okay. If you're submitting things, it's working. Okay. And we're passing these pieces of evidence as they come in to the proper authorities. The proper authorities behind the scenes are reacting and acting on this. Evident of the fact that early this morning, Andy showed up at a location and picked up some documents that are critical to this investigation. We're not going to say what they are. We're not going to talk about them, but it was a game changer. Okay. Number three. Okay. The mountain lion has been eliminated. Okay. The mountain lion.
Go back and watch the mountain lion videos, folks, if you're wondering what that's all about, and those biologists and experts from the Mountain Lion Foundation who came in. Yeah, the mountain lion was eliminated.
Yeah, mountain lion is eliminated. Okay. And number 4, keep going. Yeah, this, everybody in the true crime community, whoever you are, you know who you are, keep moving forward. Mike and I are here to support you. We are so grateful that you're here with us on this journey. Think about it. There were other personal items that were collected in the original report of Suzanne's missing. I think, folks, I feel very confident, Mike, back me up on this, that we have established a pretty solid timeline in relationship to this. But we also know there are people and other people, and you know who you are, okay? You need to step up and do the right thing, okay? Because we know who you are, okay? And that's a critical piece of this that's come out of what Andy has done, okay? And so that's number 5, okay? And which leads us to number 5. And Mike, what do you got to say?
And just keep thinking the number 5, folks. We would just remind you to keep thinking the number 5. And Chris, I don't know. I cannot thank you enough. I mean, Chris and I are the yin and yang by design. And whenever one of us comes up with a theory, the other one does everything they can to break it down and tear it apart and reanalyze. And so you may see us arguing back and forth on points, and know that it is by design. One thing Chris said yesterday that I've heard him say at least 100 times as we've taught law enforcement around the country is law enforcement has to check their egos at the door. And it's got to be okay to be wrong in decisions you're making or theories that you have, that you got to continually be wide open. And Chris, I'm going to just leave that with you for a second to kind of talk about checking an ego at the door, because that's one of those things that I think I will never forget from the very first homicide that I worked with you. So maybe you could take a moment, chat about that for a second. And then I asked Tyler to just tee up that video tribute that we did. It's only 2 minutes long, folks, and we'll show that after Chris is done.
Michael, thank you for asking me that. One of the first things that I learned a long time ago, we had a mother she was a mother of 3. Her name is Rebecca Ann Jensen.
Yeah.
And we learned while we were doing a dig for her, I was standing at the top of the grave. And we had a forensic anthropologist in the hole. His name is Dr. Roger Hegler from the Bay Area. He's world renowned.
Yeah, he is.
And he held a bone up. And he looked at me and the guy next to me. And he said, guys, he said, what kind of bone is this? And I thought to myself, keep your mouth shut. Don't you dare open your mouth. Okay. I was so tempted, because, you're a hotshot homicide detective, right? Right. And I kept my mouth shut. I was like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. And this guy next to me says, well, Doc, and he starts yattering away. And he stopped him and he said, Chris? I said, Doc, I have no idea. He goes, good. It's a dog bone.
Yeah.
And I thought, holy cow. Okay. Well, it goes to show you, okay, check your ego at the door. Let other people do what they do. They're professionals. That's what they do. And, I learned that early on, and thank goodness, and I had a successful, solvability rate. And today I'm still learning, every morning and every day. So at least I try to be that way. And, don't tell my wife that, because she'll tell you, this guy needs to learn a lot more. But so there you go, Michael.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Folks, we hope you're considering subscribing to our channel. We try really hard to give you quality content. We hope that you like what you're seeing. And we do listen to even the critiques, and we appreciate those. And we really appreciate each of you. There have been a batch of you who have made some wonderful contributions tonight that we didn't have time to call out. We have a plan to, beginning at the first of the new month, posting everyone who has contributed to us in the previous month so that you are recognized for what you've done. We deeply appreciate it. For those who are putting money into PayPal, wow, we are so appreciative. And those that are in our membership channels, please consider all of those, because they do help us. And frankly, I can't apologize for the fact that it's expensive to run this thing, and we appreciate the help. But we appreciate the thousands of people that can't do that, and the thoughts and comments that you have. So thank you. And we're going to wrap up with this tribute.
Button.
Yeah, please hit the subscribe button.
We keep forgetting to say that.
And let's watch this video, Chris, and then we'll see everyone tomorrow night.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. This is about Suzanne.
I just go back to one thing the family said to us, Chris, that I don't know that I will very quickly forget. That Suzanne was educated. She taught school for a short time, and then she stepped into being a mom and a stay-at-home mom, and she liked that lifestyle. It sounds like the family spoke that she felt a little bit isolated where she was living. That makes sense, going from a place where you have lots of your friends around you, all of a sudden being more isolated. But this is the thing that I don't think I'll forget very quickly. And why it's so important on a show like this that we help people remember who this is. And I believe the perpetrators watching tonight, the person responsible for this, that we remember this amazing person. And the thing I remember from the family was that she was a sweet and docile child. She was like her mother, very sweet and kind, not aggressive at all. You would have loved her to pieces if you talked to this woman. And we heard that from others, like the fire chief, who mentioned it in articles that we read. But this is a family that grew up in a house that didn't cuss. That's a term my family used when I was growing up. You don't cuss.
Yeah.
That really struck me strongly. And then the fact that one of the family members said how we loved playing hide and seek, and that little girl loved Sesame Street. Now, this is a 50-year-old woman, and those are the things that family members are remembering. You tell me about the victimology, Chris.
Mike, I mean, you nailed it. She's a woman who is a fighter. She got a rare type of lymphoma at 17 or 18 years old. And this chemotherapy was so harsh, they told us that she lost all of her hair. The doctors told her she wouldn't be able to have children. Now imagine how Mother's Day is to this woman. When you're 17 or 18 and the doctors say you will not have children,